Cherise, what is going on in the cyber world that I need to worry about and get more white hair about? You always have something that disturbs me, so tell me what it is this week.
Always in breaking news. Doo, 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 doo. No, seriously though, the Russians have been
Here we go
busy.
again.
I mean, they're always busy,
Yep.
right? Hacking us, but this time they're hacking their own. A social network site very similar to Facebook called VK.com was recently disclosed that over 171 million user accounts were hacked.
Oh boy.
Now, why is that important? It's important because a lot of personal identifiable information is disclosed with those accounts. But, it's just as important when one account gets hacked because you usually use that same password for another account. I
No,
mean,
that's true. I don't. That's why I drive myself crazy because I have about 25 passwords. It's difficult to
yeah,
do though, but you should do
it's
it that way.
it's easy to do. I mean, look at Mark Zuckerberg. It just was disclosed that his account was hacked,
Right.
and it was used. Same credentials were used to gain access to additional accounts that were not Facebook. So, you know, it happens to all of us. We become victims of our own demise and our own laziness. But in other Russian cyber news, coincidentally, one of the largest cyber criminal heists and cyber criminal group have been arrested. Over 50 Russian hackers have been recently arrested due to a heist that took place of $45 million in Russia. So that's pretty big
Now,
news.
how do they do that?
This particular was the heist was using a malware. They didn't disclose the type of malware they used, but it was used in the most recent breach, according to Bloomberg News.
Was that? Remember on the electric company that got hacked in Ukraine? What was the name of that software they used? It was Black something, I think.
Black Hawk Energy, Black
Yeah, Black
Energy.
Energy, I think it was. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
So
and
is this
they're finding that as a variant in other common cyber attacks in the energy, specific to the energy industry. But yeah, so that's some pretty interesting news. That's actually pretty big. It's one of the largest criminal heist um, takedown that's happened most recently.
now? Do they get the money back?
They have not said. This is, again, breaking news, so I'm sure more details will come. Very similar to the Swift cyber heist. Now, we all have talked about Swift in a previous show. Swift is the global money transfer network that banks use.
Right.
When you do wire
Oh
transfers, you
yeah, yeah.
never see what happens on the back end. But Swift is actually the network that is used by over 11,000 banks. And get this, 25 million messages occur daily between banks. Daily, 25 million messages
Between 11,000 banks.
between 11,000
Wow.
banks. Now, why is this important and why is this in the news right now? Because it has been disclosed that over 12 banks are coming forth and reporting cyber heist breaches due to utilizing the SWIFT network. Most recently, Ecuador, $9 million.
I'll say, but why isn't it traceable like in the movies? Because when they do the wire transfer, there's got to be some kind of trace behind it where it goes, right?
Because what's happening is they're using fraudulent codes that have been hacked. So the problem is this is where the blame game starts. This is where the finger pointing happens between the bank and Swift. Because what happens are certain codes are used to authenticate and verify before a transfer of funds occurs between the institution and the terminal or the bank.
Right.
Now, what's happening is these hackers are gaining access to these codes and fraudulently using them. And
So
so
it's a real
Swift
it's
is
a real code, but it's used
it,
improperly.
it is. And
Okay.
so Swift is saying, we hand you the codes. It's not up to us to determine or to control your security measures. So it's your fault if you don't
Oh,
uh, deploy security controls like authentication, verification that those codes are coming from a legitimate source, monitoring and detecting, double checking. They're saying that that should be the responsibility of the bank.